90 minutes are over.
The score is level. No winner. In many sports, the game would have to continue until someone wins. But in football, a draw is sometimes perfectly acceptable. So what happens next? The answer depends entirely on which stage of the World Cup you are watching. Because the World Cup has two completely different phases: the group stage and the knockout stage. And a draw means something completely different in each one. Let me explain. The tournament begins with the group stage. In the 2026 FIFA World Cup, 48 teams are divided into 12 groups of 4 teams each. Every team plays 3 matches against the other teams in its group. Here is the part many beginners do not realize. A draw in the group stage is not a problem at all. It is a completely valid result.
Football uses a point system. A win gives a team 3 points.
A draw gives each team 1 point. A loss gives 0 points. After all the group matches are finished, the top 2 teams from each group automatically qualify for the knockout stage. The 8 best third-placed teams also advance, so a draw is not a failure.
It is simply 1 point instead of 3. In fact, teams sometimes play for a draw on purpose if 1 point is enough to help them qualify.
This became famous at the 1982 World Cup, when West Germany and Austria played a match that produced exactly the score both teams needed to advance.
The game caused such controversy that FIFA changed the rules forever.
Since then, the final matches in every group have kicked off at exactly the same time, to prevent teams from manipulating the results.
That single match changed World Cup scheduling forever.
Now here is where everything changes.
The knockout stage.
This is single elimination football, round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final. In these matches, a draw cannot remain.
Someone has to win.
So what happens if the score is still level after 90 minutes?
First comes extra time.
The teams play 2 additional periods of 15 minutes each.
That means 30 more minutes to find a winner.
This is physically exhausting because players have already spent 90 minutes running, sprinting, and fighting for every ball.
If the score is still tied after extra time, the match goes to a penalty shootout.
5 players from each team take turns taking penalties from 12 yards away from the goal.
The team that scores more penalties after 5 rounds wins.
If the score is still tied, the shootout goes to sudden death. One team scores, the other misses, and the match is over. Penalty shootouts were created simply because tournaments need a winner. And they have produced some of the most unforgettable moments in football history. The 1994 World Cup final between Brazil and Italy was decided on penalties after a scoreless draw.
Roberto Baggio's famous miss remains one of the most replayed moments in football history.
At the 2022 World Cup, Argentina defeated the Netherlands on penalties in the quarterfinals before eventually winning the tournament.
England has also suffered several heartbreaking eliminations in penalty shootouts over the years, giving the country a reputation for shootout drama.
Football has even experimented with different ways to end extra time. The golden goal rule meant that the first team to score in extra time won immediately. The idea sounded exciting, but teams became too cautious and defensive because nobody wanted to concede the match-winning goal. The rule was eventually abandoned. So here is the entire system. In the group stage, a draw is a perfectly valid result and gives each team 1 point. In the knockout stage, a draw after 90 minutes leads to extra time. If there is still no winner, the match is decided by penalties. One format allows teams to share the result. The other demands that someone wins and someone loses.
And that is why the same scoreline can mean 2 completely different things, depending on where you are in the World Cup.
Subscribe if you want to keep understanding football at this level, because there is a lot more to break down.